friends, the Drill Down Show from U.S. Fleet Tracking. Hello there, Mark, Rich, Brian, and Edwin handling the production, and we're glad you're with us. Hope you made it to GPS Tracking Academy today. And now the Drill Down Show gives you more in-depth insight on a particular feature of our system today, that being reports. Yep. I want to give you a little bit of entree to our shows and to our company. Remember, our tech support staff is here live and ready for you the hours of 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. Mondays through Fridays, and 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. on Saturday. The phone number right there, 405-726-9900. You've got archive videos at youtube.com/US Fleet Tracking, youtube.com/US Fleet Tracking videos, install videos, anything you might think of, and more coming on board all the time, including other GPS Tracking Academy shows. Want to remind you, please, to follow us on social media. It's a great way to know what's going on in the company, what is new, what is in the offing. Like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter. The guys do an incredible job of keeping you informed and staying current there. And so social media, Facebook, Twitter, and the like, and those surveys help us a lot. You'll have a survey generated when you register for this show or GPS Tracking Academy, and we do appreciate a few minutes of your time as we do read those, and at times they have produced changes to our system. Your suggestions have been listened to and acted upon, so never know. We'd like to hear your feedback. And with that said, let's move to the Drill Down Show, and today it's all about reporting, how to make that easy, how to get the most out of it, and reports in general. Rich Davis, give us a chance to correlate our information, as well as knowing that we can set it up any way we want to. You can get as much as you want to the most minute detail, or if just a few things are apropos to you, ask for those things, and you will show how those reports can be created down many avenues and features. So what you got for us getting started?
Well,
I think you're already online.
Yeah, I mean, the main function about reports is going to be your hard data. You know, when it comes down to customers needing that data for like their managers, their bosses, the owners, even for court records, a lot of that stuff really comes down to be able to provide that hard data. Even also to be able to pull up the information just right away on specific dates and times, because the reports, we keep history for 90 days. So now you can come back and say, hey, where was this vehicle, where was this driver a month ago? I would like to be able to look at that information, where they stopped at, where mileage for IFTA reports,
right.
To alerts, I mean, which we'll definitely go into here. But again, it's that hard data on paper and not just on a system where you can hand to somebody and say, here's the information.
So it could be from anything from legal issues and you're being one of your team members being questioned as to whereabouts and such, to by someone who calls in, says maybe that a rock was thrown and broken their windshield. Yeah. Well, you can check and see exactly where the vehicle was, to clear efficiencies that the reports lend.
And even
you
a lot of our
see
customers,
trends.
Exactly. Well, and a lot of our customers even use where, like, when the vehicle started, when it stopped, and so forth, for hours, for pay, for their for their salaries and so forth. So it can be used in a lot of different aspects that some customers just don't even kind of think of. They're like, okay, well, I just know where my vehicles are at. Well, you can use this data for so many different things. And one thing I mentioned in the previous show, when I first started here, there was only one report. And now we have so many, because so much good feedback from our customers, and growing those reports, which helps so many other customers and keep growing. And the best thing is, since I started, the service has never gone up due to those things, or never even gone up. So it's one great function I really like.
The monthly fee the same.
Yep.
Yes.
So.
And as we'll inevitably get to, no matter how many reports or alerts for that matter you generate, no a la carte extra fee charge there. So again, you mentioned that sometimes and often customers want the service initially as a location-based asset, and that it is. But then as you drill into the system and see what it has to offer, or call up tech support or as a sales executive. You'll find out more that it has to offer pertinent to you, and you get those value adds in there that you may not have come to the live GPS tracking solution for, but realize they're at your beck and call.
Exactly.
All right, how about we take a look at some of those?
All right, so when you log into your system, down here in the bottom left hand, when your control panel pops up, you're gonna wanna hit that report system. Now, this is where it's gonna bring up on all your different types of reports. And what we're gonna do today is kind of break those down a little bit and show you how, like what a report looks like and where to look for that information. So one thing I always like to bring up, a lot of customers will call and say, okay, what do these reports exactly do? So for example, aggressive driving report. This report right here is going to be really important on the velocity change, as you can see right here, on 0 or just any time speed change from one speed to another speed. So it's from
either
0,
upward or downward.
Exactly. So if we see right here 0 to 55 miles per hour, I want to see a report for all those vehicles that do that, or vice versa. If they were going 55 and then they came to 0 miles per hour, why all of a sudden do they come to that very quick stop? Now, all reports are pretty much going to have these 3 functions right here when it comes to devices on what you can select. You can do individual vehicles, group of vehicles, which you can go back and create in groups, or all vehicles. Now, the other thing is you're going to have your different options here. Then you have 2 options. You can either download the report, so then you can look at later date, or one function I love about the download report, Mark, is, again, our history lasts for 90 days. However, I've always recommended to even customers that, hey, if you think you're gonna need this a year down the road, 2 years down the road, if you like the information, download it and then save it on your hard drive or save it for later use. Because I've had customers pull up their reports 2 years later and go, okay, like your reports helped us so much that we were able to pull this data for 2 years.
So if there's a chance that the need will exceed the 90 days, why not just capture it by downloading?
Exactly.
Okay.
And when you hit download, it emails you. So then you'll have it right there. You can even pull up in your emails or the hard drive if you save it. So those 2 functions right there. Now, and then finally, the most common is where a lot of customers, they go to that report and they go, I want to be able to see the report right now. So this is where they hit that view report, and this is how it pulls it up right now. So as we saw, it said issue no results returned for this report. Now what that just means, an error, doesn't mean like, oh no, something bad. That just means when you tried to run that report, instead of just giving you a blank document, it's going to tell you, hey, there was no information for aggressive driving. So all you have to do then is maybe change your date or that specific time frame. There was nothing. But you can change it where I want to go the last couple days, and let's do 35 miles per hour. If we hit view report, takes some time to download depending on how much data you're trying to get. That's a real important thing too, because I've had customers where they try to pull up all 90 days of their report, and excuse me, and it takes a while to pull that up. Well, the more data you're trying to pull up, a little bit longer it's going to take. Sure. But normally also it will let you know if it's going to take too long, that it will let you know when it's complete. Now, as you can see right here, it's going to bring up your information of your vehicle names, the total infractions, how many times that change happened, average, worst, and then it breaks it down per vehicle. So if you only want to know, hey, 8 Mike, I want to see his 23 infractions. You can actually now hit view details, and it's going to give you the address, it's confidence, like how confidence was that, probably due to the satellite count, due to where it was and so forth.
Positioning.
Exactly. Your speed from 1 miles per hour and so forth. Tells you your time frames. So that's where that details tab is going to be really nice, which all of our reports have. When you do all vehicles, it's going to bring up that view details.
So you can drill into each one independently. Okay.
Now, as you saw before, when you're about to run the report, you can download the report without even viewing it. Well, the great function with this right here, after you view the report, you're going to see the download button up here, because let's say you get the information and you like that information. You can hit the download button. So over here, though, you also have the print button. So if you also like what you have and you want to get it right then and there, you can hit print. So it looks like we actually have a question.
Yes, so concerning, I'm sorry, Rich.
No, you're fine. It looks like someone's asking a little bit on the historical playback. So the historical playback, your stops that you see when you run a historical playback, you're going to see some little stop signs. That is actually going to show you when they come to 0 miles per hour for a short period of time, is what that little stop sign is.
Very
so
good.
it's going to be more by velocity on what it is.
And it's certainly going to be more of a period of time than a conventional stoplight.
Yep, exactly. Yeah. Because if we did a specific time, it can vary, because if someone's at a stoplight for maybe 5 minutes or so, it can vary. So also, it's not going to show every location due to where they're parked at. So.
Okay. Yes. Thanks for the question, and chat in anything you like on what we're speaking about at that moment, or other issues. Quite all right.
Yeah, definitely. So right back to the reports. So if we come back here to the reports, you're going to be able to see, you can come up here to options, and this is where you can change it. So once you see the information, you can actually go in there and change it. You know what, I actually want to see 45 miles per hour and so forth. Now the final function is, if you like the report, you can come up here to scheduled reports, and you can schedule, okay, I want this report every day, weekly, or monthly.
And that is a relatively new feature we have.
Yes, it's great because it allows the system to work while offline. So then, you know, you're real busy. You don't have time to be able to constantly get on there and pull this data up. Now you can set it up so it automatically downloads that information for you. You get an email for it.
Each Friday, you get a quick perusal of everything that went on via that report, and you know everything's good.
Exactly. Yeah. And it's just, it keeps peace of mind, because maybe you even forgot to pull up their information. Well, it automatically downloaded it for you and emailed you, and so now all you have to do is pull it up, and it's a good reminder too to go, oh, here's that information that, you know, the boss needed or not. So
good. How about another variation on a report?
Exactly. So that right there's the aggressive driving report. So now the excessive idling report is going to be when a vehicle has been parked for a long period of time. How long the vehicle has been parked with the ignition on. So here you can set up, you know, if it's been, I want to know everyone that's been past 30 minutes when they're parked, all vehicles. So we can go back to view report, and it's going to break that down and say, okay, here are the vehicles, how many total idles, and the time frames. And of course you can break that details down again.
Right, and what that will do for you, depending upon how deeply you want to look, is establish trends. If maybe the idling has become excessive and there's a way to cut that down, which of course would lend to your bottom line, it can create a conversation, not necessarily at all an adversarial one, but simply a teaching opportunity.
They stick out a little bit, and now you can, the one thing I love about our system is we have so many other ways to verify information. So for example, if you notice like, hey, this vehicle's been here a few times, you can go back to the historical playback. You can pull up another report that will verify it, and it breaks it down so you don't just have this one report, and if some just kind of looks a little questionable, you're like, well, did he not? What was this? We have so many other tools that you can use to, like you have 3 things to confirm it compared to that one. Yep.
Okay.
So now the next report is going to be the Pto Sensor Report. Now this one's really nice because let's say you have a tow business and you want to know every time that their booms were activated. This is the report that you can run, and it will view all those times that that PTO was engaged, is what that's going to be. Now this grade 1 right here that's grayed out, that just means that the system knows there is no information for this report and within the 90 days. So it doesn't allow you to select it because, for example, this is a speed alert report. So this demo account doesn't have a speed alert, so therefore we're not going to have any reports.
This is that no report of that type has been set.
Exactly. We'd rather have it grayed out than a customer selecting it and then going through the last 90 days and just seeing 0 information.
Right.
It saves you time.
It's a time saver.
Yep. Now probably the second most used one is probably going to be the speeding report. A lot of customers really like this one because I want to know how fast my vehicles have been going. Really good for insurance reasons as well, because you can actually pull it up and say, hey, I will know if my drivers are speeding or going over certain speed limits.
And this is a point you want to mention to your insurance company just in case they have a provision for a discount due to that, as you mentioned in the previous show.
Yeah, I had one customer where his discount was actually the same cost as the service itself. So him getting the service pretty much paid for itself. Yeah. Because of the discounts he was able to get. Now again, that all varies on your insurance agency, so that's something you definitely want to call them and ask. But I know there's been a lot where they've worked with them, and then in some they just don't quite have that policy there. So definitely worth calling and just looking into.
Often companies they welcome preventative measures, for safety reasons, for all of that. So it fits it with some folks' insurance.
Exactly.
And now you're moving to what you'd consider the most used report.
Yes. So the most used report that we have pulled up is the start-stop report. This one is extremely important because it's going to be able to tell you, most customers want to know, I just want to know when my vehicles left their location and when they got to the specific location. This breaks it down so you don't have to look over 2,000 records. It breaks it down per vehicle. So we can do ignition or movement, and let's just do movement. Minimum stop time, we can set that to, let's say, 5 minutes. We can hit the view report.
And you mentioned ignition and movement are both offered because some devices, battery powered, don't call into play the ignition.
Correct, exactly. Your battery operated devices do not have wires, so they cannot connect to that ignition wire. Yep. And some customers, they really want to just know that ignition every time they turned it on, and they want to know, okay, when did that one turn on? When did it turn off? Is what that would be. So as you can see right here for the start-stop, how many stops they had, the total duration, average, and worst. And then of course, again, you can always look into that details because we can see right here where it says total stops, 14, we can look at those view details.
And especially if you're thinking that that number is a little bit out of line or out of what the norm should be. Take a look at the details. Again, maybe creates a conversation where you and your team member can find more efficiencies.
Yep, absolutely. So if we come back here, now that was their most popular one, is going to be the start-stop. Now the Geofence activity report, when you select this one, it's going to be able to break down what vehicles have been into certain zones is what that one right there is going to be used for.
And now it would seem to me, because geofencing is so popular, that also would be used quite a bit.
Yeah, I mean, I believe it's the third or fourth most used because the customers want to see what vehicles have went into their zones without having to go through their phone for their alerts or their emails is what that's nice at.
And when you set those geofences, it can be trigger a report, an alert for into and or out of. So it's either way.
Correct.
It gives you the entire, the comprehensive look at things, as much so as you want.
So the next one right here is going to be the Pto Summary Report. It's very similar to the Sensor Report where it's just going to bring up a summary of when, like how much the vehicle used that PTO is what that one right there is going to be. Then we have the Trip Detail Report, which I apologize, I kind of skipped over. This one right here is going to be able to tell you certain zones of the routes on like which ones they went on and so forth is what that one right there is going to be. We have Trip Distance on how far a vehicle specifically went for specific trips that they set up. Now we have our two separate ones up here, your Device Mileage by State Report and Device Mileage Report.
And the mileage by state lends to the IFTA reference you made earlier. That can save your accounting department endless hours because it's there waiting at the fingertips, end of the month, whatever, weekly, however you want it correlated, as opposed to having to look back and correlate all that data.
Exactly, and that's where originally where the scheduled report really came from. Because we had a lot of customers that were using this and they say, hey, I really need this report every month. And I don't want to have to constantly log into your system and run a separate report and all this. And it would be really nice to have that scheduled report. So we set that up. And of course, it's great for all the other reports. But I remember that's where it kind of really originated from.
Okay.
And then finally, down below that, we have the summary reports. Now, the summary reports are going to where they give you all the data. One I'd really like to stick out is, for example, like the standard report. If you do a standard report, and you select, let's say, 10con.
And that was the original report, correct?
That is correct.
Okay.
This right here was the very first report. So if we hit View Report, we load it, and as you can see, this one is going to bring up a lot of information because it's really breaking it down. So, and this is right here, it tells you, I personally love this one because you can literally see every update. So now you can see variations of like, okay, as you can see, he was driving and how fast he was going, his heading, latitude, longitude, and then latitude, longitude once it loads the addresses is what that is.
And it's often a personal preference how deeply into the information you want to go. As you say, you want to see it all.
Yep.
And some only want a couple of those details.
One thing I like to say with the standard is once you get to know the system and you can quickly pull it up, it looks like a lot of data. So a lot of customers get a little
intimidated.
Exactly. They see all this data and they go, okay, I don't quite know where to look or anything, so I'd rather just cut it down to this. With the start stop, for example. With a standard report, if you have an idea where you're looking, you can go and look there really fast and then be able to break it down and know exactly pinpoint information.
And things are in order, move on down the line.
That's
in short order. As you say, getting familiar with the system, with the reports, as well as the system itself. Play with it, especially the folks in your business who have the keys to it, because there's hardly any better application than learning practically, hands-on.
Yep.
And you can't corrupt the data, you can't destroy the system under very many circumstances I can think of.
If you do, you give us a call because we try to do that every day.
Yes.
And so we can try to catch anything.
Right.
But if you do, you give us a call and we'll gladly fix that for you. And then now we also have it so it doesn't break for anybody else. So.
Yes, as you are getting familiar with the system, if you don't know how you got where you got, we've all done that in some arenas, just back out of it, refresh, start over.
Yeah, I mean, we've always told customers if it ever kind of freezes, just log out, log back in. If that doesn't work, close your browser, reopen it, and a lot of times that will even fix it. So, but now the final two things, we have the scheduled reports. This is where you can go in and edit or change them. Let's say you have a scheduled report every week, and you're like, I think we've got enough of that. We don't really need it anymore. You come down here to scheduled reports, hit the little gear over here, and now this is where you can remove or even edit it.
Yeah, so
is what that will
hitting the gear is where you can make your changes.
That's right.
To each one.
And the final one, recent run reports. I like this because let's say you ran a report a week ago and it was like your really good report, but you didn't print it, you didn't save it on accident.
Forgot exactly what it was.
Exactly. You can come back here, and as you can see, we keep back a very long time of like all the reports that you've requested, and you can download it straight from here. And then this is also important, as you can see some that are processing. These are ones that maybe we requested. Maybe they were all vehicles for 90 days. And if you have 100 vehicles, pulling that amount of data will take quite some time. So it tells you right here when it's processing. And you just come back after a period of time, and then it should be complete, and now you can download it.
Now, is there a way in which you can, you've decided, okay, this is too cumbersome, I don't want to run this report, but you've already started it.
And it doesn't hurt your system at all.
Yeah, you just let it go ahead and finish to fruition, whether you use it or not. Okay.
Yep, because it's not going to affect your
tracking. It's not slowing things down, no tracking. Okay.
We've had some customers, they go, well, I've ran like 5 reports, will this slow down my tracking? And we have to explain to them, hey, your tracking is completely separate. Right. It's by the device by itself on how it's trying to update.
This is all web-based generated.
Exactly. Yep.
Yes.
So, and that pretty much does it for the reports. The final thing I always like to say is just remember, there's those little question marks in the top right-hand corner, and they're little how-to videos. And it's a really good way to pull up, and it will explain on what everything is and how to use it. Especially for training purposes, or if we went a little too fast today, you can always go back and look at those.
Very good. Rich Davis, thanks again for another crackerjack job as our resident expert. And as we close out the Drill Down Show, I want to remind you about tech support. The hours of 7 a.m. to 7 p.m., Mondays through Fridays here at US Fleet Tracking Live, as well as Saturdays, 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. Central. Phone number 405-726-9900. Want to see archive shows? It's youtube.com/US Fleet Tracking. That's youtube.com/US Fleet Tracking. GPS Tracking Academy comes to you every 2 weeks at 11 o'clock Central Time. That's the hour long over the entire system. And then the Drill Down Show, 1 o'clock Central, is on a particular feature or a particular offering from our system. And in 2 weeks, it's maintenance alerts, listening to your fleet with maintenance alerts, reminding you to like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter. It will keep you up on what's going on inside the world of US Fleet Tracking. We are in some 120 plus countries in all states, so an international company. Things are always happening here, and the surveys. We'd appreciate you filling them out. They give us an idea of what you're thinking. We always want to stay in touch with the customer. For Rich, for Brian, for Edwin, I'm Mark. We thank you for being a part of the shows today and for being valued U.S. fleet tracking customers. Have a super weekend, folks.